Hi, I'm Dr. Jeremy Maxwell of Maxwell Family Chiropractic, Wellness Way affiliate here in Columbia, Missouri. And today I'm going to present to you the Wellness Way quick tip on birth control. Is it really worth it? I believe today's topic is going to resonate with many of you, and I've been really excited to bring this quick tip to you because it's definitely going to be life-changing. But before we move on about the birth control pill, I think there's some things that I want to help you understand before we move forward, because when you attend any workshop in a Wellness Way affiliate office or a Wellness Way office, one of the main things that we want to challenge everybody on a regular basis is the way you think about health. So again, I'm going to challenge you today. Let's challenge the way you think about health, in particular to your hormones. So obviously women, we're going to be talking mainly to you today, but this goes for husbands and dads and men as well, because sometimes you're involved in the decision making when it comes to this. So let's look at the medical definition of disease. I think, when you guys put this together today, it's going to be a huge epiphany as to really how dangerous and how complicating drugs can be to the body. So by definition, let's see what it says, all right? So when we're talking medical community, most of us already are going to a certain place, and that's symptoms and the manifestation of disease. And that's exactly what the definition says. But pay close attention, because it's any deviation from or interruption to the normal structure, function, body part, organ, or system. Once the symptoms are manifested, that's what initiates now the definition. It's a disease. But let's take a step back a little further. From a Wellness Way approach, we're always more interested in dysfunction. So if we just stop short before the manifestation of disease, it's a great definition of what dysfunction is. It's any deviation from or interruption of the normal structure or function or body part or organ or system. So we'll end that definition right there. That's the definition of dysfunction, which is what we want to know when it comes to your Wellness Way physicians. So I think it's also vital that we begin to look at a drug response, because when disease is present, the medical community or the medical approach is we have to either make those symptoms that have manifested go away or manipulate them somehow. So let's see, what is the definition of a drug response? Well, it's before any medication can produce that response, it has to overcome homeostatic mechanisms. So that means it has to screw up, mess up, or change, alter normal function. That's what homeostasis is. That's what we've been given innately in our body, is the ability to strive towards homeostasis or normal all the time. That's the body's ability to adapt. And we want to keep your body in the most beneficial performing mode of adaptation. So now you take a drug whose sole purpose is to interrupt normal. Did you guys catch that? As Doc would say, hold the phone. So a drug response has to interrupt normal function. Well, that sounds familiar to me when we look at our definition of disease or dysfunction. So if we look at dysfunction, any deviation from or interruption to the normal structure, function, body part, system, or organ, well, now this drug that we just spoke about just created dysfunction and is now moving you in the direction of disease. That's scary. Did you guys catch that? So pretty much any drug, any over-the-counter medication that you're deciding to put into your body, you are creating dysfunction and moving your body closer to disease and manifesting symptoms than creating health. So there's no way possible that you can be taking a drug and promoting normal health, because we just showed you guys that the drug response has to overcome a homeostatic mechanism or interrupt normal in order for that to work. So now it's creating dysfunction. I don't know about you, but that's mind-blowing to me. And to think of the number of millions of people that every day are not only taking medications, but the women who are on birth control. So let's just look at this drug response. So most women who are taking it obviously are for preventing pregnancies. So let's look at the pill. It contains a small synthetic amount of estrogens and progesterone hormones. So right off the bat, we read synthetic, so they're forms that were not meant to be in your body, and they are to inhibit the body's natural cyclical hormones to prevent pregnancy. So again, by definition, this drug is creating dysfunction and moving your body in a position of disease eventually, because now it's interrupted the normal, natural, cyclical event of how those hormones are being made. Mind-blowing. And millions of young ladies are taking these pills like candy every day. So as we prepared for this quick tip, I decided to just get on and Google, maybe the top 7 reasons that women would take the pill. And what I don't have here is the article was actually listed as 7 healthy benefits of birth control. Well, by definition, we just proved that that entire statement is what we call an oxymoron. And there is a lot of moronic things that take place in the medical community in that regard. So let's just visit this. So the top 7 reasons women are taking the pill are obviously, number 1, to prevent pregnancy. There's a lot of directions we could go with that, ladies. So there's obviously more natural approaches, but the sad thing to me is that the majority of the women that are taking this now, they're not married, and I can tell you a lot of other ways to not get pregnant before you interrupt normal function in your body. But I'll leave that to your imagination. Number 2, most women want to have clear skin. I don't know anyone that doesn't, so I understand the motivation behind having healthy looking skin. So that's another reason they're taking it. Regulating hormones. Okay, well, again, another oxymoronic statement. We're not going to regulate anything by putting a synthetic chemical in, and we know again the definition of a drug response is it's interrupting normal function. So just in those top 3 things, there's a lot of different approaches that can be taken. So let's just start with number 2. Usually when skin's a problem, you can pretty much bet there's a gut issue. So when it comes to complete testing, we'd want to maybe look at a stool test or also look at some foods, because those 2 things alone, when you remove the stress, often the skin will clear up. So let's just not jump to manipulating hormones. Same with regulating them. Often if we remove those known stressors of food allergies and potential pathogens within the gut biome, by nature, the body's going to move towards normal and start to regulate those hormones by themselves. Because honestly, you ask any wellness way physician, we want to do less. We don't want to throw all these things at our clients in hopes that something works. We are very specific and complete about how we test and what we test, in addition to what we support you with when it comes to herbs or supplements. One of the other reasons is decreasing cramping, which is a very common thing. Hopefully not dealing with endometriosis, which can be pretty painful. And also PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, and migraines. Okay, now one thing I want you guys to understand is I have patients that have benefited from symptom relief by taking the pill on all of these things. So I'm not trying to dispute the fact that the drug doesn't work. I just want you to understand that it's not going to help you find health or get back to normal. So what does that mean then? Well, ultimately, like most drugs, it boils down to convenience versus health. So our job is to show you guys the negative effects of taking drugs. It's pretty easy by definition today. We showed you you're interrupting normal, you're creating dysfunction and moving your body toward disease. The wellness way approach is test, not guess. Find the stressors, the ones that are causing dysfunction, let's remove them, and now your body moves towards normal homeostatic mechanisms. And much of what we give, supplement-wise, whether it's herb or vitamins or just better nutrition, it innately moves your body in the right direction. So the power of the body is pretty amazing. Let's not rely on drugs and convenience to manipulate things. And that's basically what birth control becomes, is a convenient way to not get pregnant, maybe a convenient way to not have skin breakout. It's a convenient way to not get cramps or regulate your cycle, but ultimately it's an unhealthy way to manipulate your body, and it just has devastating effects as you move forward. And ultimately, it comes down to you not wanting to change some lifestyle things. So I challenged you guys in the beginning. I hope that we can challenge the way you think and see health, that it's not about popping a pill and making a symptom go away. It's what can we do to help you guys move back towards normal function. So returning to homeostasis, what does that look like when it comes to hormones? Well, in the wellness way, a couple of ways we're going to look at hormones is via the blood and urine. We love the Dutch test, and we love just taking the blood maybe at different times of the month, particularly the second or third day of menstruation, and as well 6 to 7 days after ovulation. Gives us a complete picture when we look at blood and urine, because we can also see how your body metabolizes those hormones, and it gives us insight to other functions. So the challenge for you guys, let's stop creating disease by taking prescription medications and over-the-counter medications. I hope you enjoyed today's quick tip on birth control, and I hope we challenge you to make better decisions when it comes to putting abnormal things in your body.